Right,
Oh
let's get
man.
going here. Our insider from the Insiders, James Ham, is here with us. The Sacramento Kings hosting the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. James, we were just talking with Will Z a couple of minutes ago. There's pretty much nothing to pull from, at least nothing positive to pull from the two games that these teams played earlier this year.
No, you got stomped by this team twice.
Mm.
Like,
Hey, you get stopped the second time.
I don't know.
They lost
Like,
the game. They were
yeah.
leading in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but still, you didn't look good. Neither one of those
No.
games did they look good, and you didn't. You responded better, but it wasn't still the response you needed. And so, I think the one good thing is we're going to see what Keegan Murray has for Brandon Ingram, because that's something we did miss in the second game.
Mhm.
We went out halftime in the first game, right, and
Yep.
then
Mhm.
sat the second game, and that's when Brandon Ingram really started cooking in the first and the second game was without Keegan on the court. I think Keegan can make a huge difference in this series, but I also think that having CJ McCollum there makes a big difference. And I don't always know if it's the right difference because the other two are so good that sometimes I think having an additional scorer might not be what you need. Those guys need as many touches as possible. And CJ McCollum's a really good player. I'm not saying he's not, but if he's taking 15, 16 shots, I might want some of those shots going to Ingram and Zion because I don't think the Kings have an answer for either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the other thing about CJ coming back, and CJ is a fantastic player, rather have him out there than not if I'm a Pelicans fan or a coach, is I think you lose something on the defensive end, though,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to guard Herter or De'Aaron Fox. You're going to lose a little something. They had Dyson.
Which is 1,000% the shot that De'Aaron Fox took at him earlier.
I mean, look, we kind of joked about it, or you noticed it as well, but De'Aaron, he looking at like, I'm about to eat. They try to put him on me. This is going to be barbecue chicken. So that's something. And when they played him the first time, they had Dyson Daniels and let me see.
Alvarado,
was he there both games or the second game?
Oh, it might have just been, and he's hurt again, right?
He's hurt again. I didn't know that.
Oh, maybe he's
Alvarado
back.
was there the first one.
Okay,
maybe he's back. It's possible.
But yeah, I mean, you're losing something there on the defensive end, going up against a top flight scorer like De'Aaron Fox.
That's your boy.
Who?
Alvarado.
Oh, that is my boy for sure.
Yeah, you love that.
That is my boy. I like Alvarado. Kings need to get Alvarado at some point.
I would say this, like looking at, again, Brandon Ingram averages 18.5 field goal attempts per game. Zion is at 16.2. CJ McCollum is at 16.8 in his 8 games this season. And there is no way that if I'm coaching that team that CJ McCollum averages more shot attempts than Zion. That's just, I don't know how that works. Now, he does space the floor better. And that's than the other guys that they have. You have to respect CJ McCollum, even if he's not shooting the lights out from 3, he's still a great 3-point shooter. But yeah, I don't know. This team is interesting to me because they're always evolving because they always have injuries and you're always looking at a different team when you face them.
Rebounding was a huge issue for the Sacramento Kings against the Pelicans. How do you improve that? Because no one got taller and probably didn't get stronger. So what is rebounding against a team like the Pelicans?
Well, I would say 2 things. Number one, the Kings didn't shoot the ball well at all against the Pelicans the first time. So one way to reduce the amount of defensive rebounds for the other team is to hit your shots, right? So try to get easier buckets, try to hit your shots. So if you can do that, that's one way. But this team needs team rebounding. And I think if we go back through this season and we look at some of the most impressive wins, the really close wins that the Kings have had, it usually comes down to someone unexpected going in and grabbing a couple of rebounds. And I can at least remember like 2 games right off the top of my head where Kevin Herter made a huge impact as a rebounder. I think Trey Lyles, even in his lone couple of games, the couple of games that he's played, has had a couple of huge rebounding nights where it stood out like in his minutes. But like the 2 rebounds in the fourth quarter that Kevin Herter had the other night were tremendous. He went up amongst the trees. He was flying in there with Jokic and with Aaron Gordon, and that's what you need. You need team rebounding on this with this group, and they can't just leave it all up to Sabonis. If you do that, you're going to get beat. Yeah, offensive rebounds is a big problem with this team. You need defensive rebounding on this. There's only so much that that Domas can do when he has a guy like Valanciunas that he has to keep off the glass. It's not like you're playing a team with a couple of skinny guys and Sabonis might be able to like take 2 guys out on a play. This is, they've got a bunch of big boys on this team.
Yeah, and in that first game, the offensive rebounds was 10-9. So he didn't get beat up on the offensive boards. But I mean the defensive boards, this goes to what you spoke to, James. 45-27 Pelicans. I mean, that means you're just throwing up brick after brick after brick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys remember who the leading scorer was that game for the Kings off the top of your head? Or if
was it? I don't want to cheat. I think I saw it earlier, but I'm not 100% sure that was it 14?
16.
Oh, 16. Because De'Aaron had 14 in that one.
That's his worst game of the season.
Harrison had 16 points.
Hey, HB. HB.
They couldn't throw it in the bayou. They couldn't throw it in the Mississippi River down there in New Orleans that night.
Yeah, the rebounding thing is a big deal. Like, you can't get dominated on the glass. I mean, last time it was like 19 rebounds. You're going to lose that game almost every single time. Mm-hmm. So, because if there's a disparity that big, that means that there are a lot of missed shots. Mm-hmm. And that's just, again, the Kings didn't shoot. They shot 37.9% in the first game, and they shot 11 of 45 from 3, 24.4% from 3. So, again, there's going to be a lot of rebounds in a game like that. I think they cleaned it up a little bit in the second game. They shot 44.7% from the field, 34.1. Now they can do better than that too. Like, you need to continue to improve, but that's, in that game they get out rebounded 48-38. So a little bit better.
Anyone know how many Harrison had on Saturday? I don't think we've mentioned his name once today.
Hold on. Let me
I know it was good. It was good.
12.
It was 11.
11.
Okay. It was really solid.
I don't remember any of them
on Saturday. I don't either. I can't remember a single basket Harrison Barnes made on Saturday.
I think
I remember all of Malik's 21.
Oh yeah.
But can't remember a single basket that Harrison Barnes made.
Poor Harrison.
I thought he was solid.
He was
efficient. I think he was 5 of 8 or 5 of 9 from the field. Mm-hmm. The same thing with Herter. You didn't really notice Herter until he had the 2 big rebounds and then the dagger. Like, he had the 3-point make from the right elbow, like really, really nice offensive kick out from De'Aaron. De'Aaron was so good in that game.
The Kings were really good in that game. Yeah. Let's spend a few minutes on
that. That would have, to your point, that would have been a shame if they lost that game, because I thought they played really good.
Yeah, you're listening to D'Lo and Casey on KIFM West Sacramento, 98.5 FM, KRX QHT2 Sacramento, ESPN 1320, always live on the free Odyssey app that you can download on whatever smartphone and operating system you use. You can also watch the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter on ESPN 1320 TV. Hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe buttons, if you will. We'll obviously talk more about the Pelicans and the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament tonight at the Golden One Center. Let's go back a couple of days, James, to Saturday's win against the Denver Nuggets. You talked about the way De'Aaron Fox played. You sent us the note earlier about De'Aaron Fox being the Western Conference Player of the Week. He's having another extraordinary season.
Yeah, I don't think many people thought he could take another leap. I think I said it before the season started. I think he can be a better player, but that doesn't mean he'll be better statistically. Mm-hmm. Like, he can be a better defensive player. He can be a better overall player. But now all of a sudden we're seeing a guy who's 4th in the league in scoring. He's averaging 30.4 points per game. Jeez. He's just absolutely spectacular each and every night. I was watching the replay this morning here in the studio, and they flashed up. He's leading the league in fourth quarter scoring at 9.8 points per game coming into that game on Saturday. And he's just been so incredibly good. And again, Mike Brown can count on him every step of the way. And if he wants to start handing out double-digit assists per game, that makes the Kings almost like unstoppable. I
don't even think we referenced this career high 16 assists.
16 assists career high, yeah. And then the other thing that's crazy is he had 1 turnover in that game, And he brought this up in post game. So on the season, Fox is only averaging 2 turnovers per game. And during this season, he has 4 games where he's got 0 or 1 turnovers. And then he's got another 5 where he only has 2. And then he's got another 3 where he only has 3. And then he's got 1 where he has 4 turnovers. Like, he's made a concerted effort to stop turning the ball over, to control the ball. I remember his turnover from that game. It was where he tried to force a bounce pass through like 8 guys to I think it was Harrison Barnes down low, and in a crucial moment, and it stuck in his head. You could tell he was pissed at himself for turning the ball over. And so when you have a guy who's, again, he's in the top 4 in the league in scoring, and Joel Embiid is averaging like 3.6 turnovers per game. Kevin Durant is averaging like 3.8. Luka Doncic is averaging like 3.8 turnovers per game. And you're one of the leading scorers in the league, and you're at 2 turnovers per game. That's crazy. You know, is 6.6 to 2 assist to turnover ratio is just sparkling. So yeah, he's growing like in front of our eyes. We're getting to see a player become a star, and maybe even a superstar. And
he's a superstar.
Yeah,
I think Fox is a superstar.
I think we are getting to that point where you just need to say he is a superstar. And I didn't know that we'd ever get to this point. Even last year at like 25 points a game, he's not really a superstar. Now he looks like a superstar, and he's bringing it every single night. And again, you can't say enough about even his defense. Everything is better about what he's doing. So he's found a way to take one more leap, and I didn't think that leap was possible. But I also don't think it's bogging the Kings down. I don't think that they're like beholden to him getting 30 points or like they're going to lose. And I also don't think that he's forcing it to get to those points either.
Yeah, it's making them better.
Yeah,
and I agree. I mean, he's the game looks so, I don't know if I want to say easy, but maybe that's what I feel. Looks easy. Like he's in complete control of everything he wants to do and his team needs in those games out there. If he needs to turn it up and start scoring, he can get almost whatever shot he wants. If they're distributing the ball, or if he's distributing the ball and they're hitting shots, he understands how to finesse the defense to maybe bring attention to himself to get open looks for others. It's just he's locked in. Who was that? Oh, that was Brown for the Nuggets on Saturday. Tried to bring the ball up on him at half court. De'Aaron swiped one time. I said, oh, he's gonna get him. Sure enough, Brown tried to make a move to get around him, swiped it. Swiper goes in, layup at the end of the quarter. But like that's how the game is right now. He looks at a guy like that. He's like, oh, I'm gonna just take the ball from him. Let me try and get it there. Oh, nope. Let me swipe it and take it. That's how, I don't want to call it easy because it's not easy, but that's how locked in, I guess, maybe he is right now.
Yeah, I think it's funny too. He said he would have windmill dunked that, but his ankle still isn't 100%. I like to play. There was another moment where he got a steal when Denver was trying to bring the ball up quick in the fourth quarter. He got a steal, brought it up, and stepped into a 3-pointer in transition.
That was a special moment, right?
And just
there.
crushed it.
Yeah.
And I asked him about that after the game. Like the confidence level in him to shoot that shot is through the roof, which is not something that we've ever seen in the past. Where, it's not that he's hesitant, but it takes a different level of confidence to go out there and shoot like 8 threes in a game. And he's out there averaging 8.3. He's up 3.3 3-point attempts per game.
Wow.
Which is wild. Absolutely wild. He's getting respect from the officials slowly.
Well, not Saturday.
Not Saturday. Well, that was a joke. The Sabonis
garbage
stuff,
time free throws at the end of the game
to make it remotely
not garbage
close.
time, but no, he took on Saturday. They were fouling. Those were his first free throw attempts.
Yeah. He's averaging 7.8 on the season, which again is one of those things. He's up almost 2 per game over last season. And that's how he's going to sneak up into the 30-point per game and stay there. So if he can get a couple of more 3-pointers per game, which is what he's doing, and then the additional free throws per game. And so, yeah, I think, we're watching a player develop and become like so much better at every aspect of the game. And you put him out there with this guy, Malik, and like there is no way to stop those two when they're both rolling. Like they are so creative, not only together but separately. And so each of them has an ability to collapse the defense and look for, to set each other up. And they make each other better, which is crazy.
Well, let's stay with Malik, because the number right now is five 20-point games. The other number is 0, the number of games that they've lost when Malik has scored 20 or more. And, KC called this one of the most dynamic duos in the league. And it's hard to argue with that. And I don't think there's any argument that it's the most unique duo in the league, because you have Domas and De'Aaron, a part of the starting lineup crew right there. But then you put Malik and De'Aaron together, and you have nights like those two had last night where that's tough to stop, if at all possible.
Yeah, I really don't think it is. I don't think it's possible to stop those guys when they're rolling. I mean, you have certain nights where they're not shooting well. I'd point out too, so first of all, a lot of people, why don't you start Malik? And the reason why you don't start Malik is because De'Aaron Fox is averaging 22 field goal attempts per game, a little over 22. And that means that someone like Malik is not going to get the opportunities in the starting lineup that he will as he does coming off the bench. So I think he's in a perfect position for himself. I hope that he continues to look at it that way, that this isn't something where he's like, I got to go out there and find a starting job somewhere, because you could look the rest of your career and not find another team, another situation like you have right now in Sacramento. And I'd hate to see him miss out on something special as the team grows and builds, but also he would be very, very difficult to replace. He's just one of those players, super special. And when he has his feet set on the 3 ball, I think it goes in every single time. Like when he's doing, like trying to shoot off the dribble and stuff like that, okay, he's good. But when he's a catch and shoot 3 guy, on overall in the season, he's shooting 41.3% from 3. But every time he shoots the ball as a catch and shoot player, I think it's going in. And really the way he gets those is when he's playing with Fox, when Fox draws and kicks.
And I think that was I remember reading some stats on him when they signed him. That was what he did in LA too. Catch and shoot. He was, I want to say like 49% from 3 or something on catch and shoot. He just didn't really always have the opportunity to do it. But he's been that type of guy in his recent resurgence on catch and shoot threes. I saw a lot of talk about it over the weekend. You've explained it a number of different times about sign Malik Monk right now. You know what I mean? I know you broke down the money that he can get, but I just want to clarify for those who are listening. He can't get that money until he's a free agent, right? Like they can't give him the same deal tomorrow that they can give him on July 2nd or something like that.
Yeah, he's not eligible for an extension right now. He's not until because he only signed a 2-year deal. If he would have signed a 3-year deal, even if it had a player option for the 3rd year, if he would have signed a 3-year deal, then they could have renegotiated. So you can renegotiate a contract like following before the 3rd year of a contract. He also would have had, if he would have signed a 3-year deal and played 1 more year under the contract that he is, which is smart that he didn't for himself, as long as he, wherever he ends up, it's better for him that he's a free agent sooner, because he's making maybe 10.5 million this year, or maybe it's a little under 10. But he's going to be able to get like a full $17.5 million this coming year. And from the Kings, they can offer him an early bird contract, which is basically a 4-year, starts at 17.5, goes up 8% a year. I think it works out to either just under 80 or just over 80. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there might be a team out there that thinks that he's a solution for them and throws a whole bunch of money. There also might be a situation out there that he likes better. But he is an unrestricted free agent. He is a guy who, again, they'll have early bird rights to him like they did with Richaun Holmes. But the difference is that Richaun Holmes' salary was so low that he could only make what equates to a league average salary, which for his year was like $10.5 million, a starting salary at that, and then 8% raises on top of that. because Malik, it's one of two things. Either you get the league average salary, or you can get, I think it's up to 70% more, 170% of your previous year's salary. So that's where it puts him at like 17.5 million as a starting salary.
I think he'll be. They pay him good money. I think he stays. I think they will pay him good money.
He said something the other night in the post game about they call his name like like when he comes into the game, he gets a reaction like he's a starter. Mm-hmm. And I don't know like what sparked, like, because he said I got the whole city of Sacramento behind him, and I just thought that was interesting, like as to what like sparked that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the constant chatter about Malik starting, or should he start, or especially when guys are out, should he start? Should he start? Period. Whether he hears that or whether he does want to start, because I think that's what it'll boil down to. Money is one thing, but does having your name called in the starting lineup matter to you? And that's essentially all we're talking about with Malik, because Malik plays damn near like a starter in terms of minutes.
And to that point, though, being a starter, is it just being a starter in general, or do you want to? I don't think there's going to be spots where he can start on a winning team. Do you want to be, sixth man and an integral figure on a winning team? And I think Malik wants to win. I think this experience here in Sacramento, these 2 years, has been absolutely wonderful for him. Almost like the Bobby Jackson situation, where he was good elsewhere. He could go other places and probably start at point guard. I'm talking about Bobby Jackson. Mm-hmm. But he's like, nah, I'm here. I got a great thing going here. I think it's the same thing we're going to see with Malik Monk. Yeah,
I think like there are players that don't want to go to Sacramento, right? There certainly have been over the course of time. There are plenty of players who, Chris Webber is the most famous. He didn't want to get off the plane, and he had to call his dad, and his dad told him to get his ass off the plane. But then once you get here in Sacramento, there are so many players that never want to leave. Like it's just a community feel, a love that you feel. Spending a little bit of time with Malik. Number one, he's a goofball all the time. He's super funny. Like he walks in the locker room and he looks at you and he goes, I ain't got nothing for you. I ain't got nothing for you tonight. It's like if you needed to ask him a question, he'd sit there and talk to you. But he likes to come in the room and like be noisy. And he also, like before last game, he had a couple of really, really cool creative shirts that Sacramento Kings fans had made for him. And I think he had one for Harrison and he had one for himself. And he's just the way about him. He's so funny. He's like, these guys, they keep asking me to sign these shirts. I say, I ain't signing that shirt until you send one for me. Like, I ain't doing it unless I get a free shirt. And sure enough, there he is. He's signing them and he's got one for himself. But like, I think he feels the vibe of Kings fans. And it's hard to replace that. Like you go to LA and there's not a lot there. Like when you walk outside that building, like people are used to seeing famous people when they go to like a breakfast spot, and you're not even that famous when you're in a city like LA. Right. You go to Sacramento, like you own the town. Like if that guy buys a drink somewhere, I would be shocked. Anywhere, dinner, it's always going to be comped. Like that's who you are in Sacramento. You're like your royalty, like really. And I think that will play into his decision. I think having De'Aaron Fox here will play into that decision. The relationships that he's made with other players will play into that decision as well. So I think the Kings have a really good fighting chance to keep him here.
And they can I'm pocket watching the D'Lo and KC. They can give him money. Like it's not like they're like, hey, stay here for $7 million a year. Like they can pay him a good amount of money. And then like $17 million a year, something like the $80 million contract, 4 years, and they could give him or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, he can get paid.
Just whether someone else comes in with, 25 and not in California where he's not paying ridiculous taxes. So, yeah.
I vote that Damian pays for his taxes.
Okay.
You vote that Damian pays for his taxes?
Well, my friend told me you don't have to pay your taxes. So.
Are you friends with Wesley Snipes?
I've been hanging out with Kenny's friends. Stop paying.
Did you ever have that conversation? It wasn't taxes. It was mortgage. Did you ever have that conversation?
I never had the conversation about not paying my mortgage with anyone. No, I don't think that conversation would go over very well. We've waited far too long, James. And it's because you waited far too long. You waited till item number 6 on your 6th thing Saturday night. By the way, credit to James Ham. I don't know what you did Saturday. James Ham is now shooting his videos in 4K.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you like that?
Oh, that was fire.
They were a holy nightmare process.
Did you adjust some settings on your phone?
I just went into cinematic mode.
Yep. Now it's fire.
I did it on accident for Malik, and then I accidentally didn't do it for the De'Aaron Fox video, and then I'm like, oh, I'll go back to it for
nope,
Mike
don't
Brown.
go back. Don't go back. Live.
All
Live
right.
with these. They look incredible.
Yeah.
You use Zoom or something. Like, it looks either that or you're sitting right next to Malik. Like, they look
right?
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
did a very. I had a feeling you might have stumbled across this on accident, but it looks very, very good. However, that does not explain why you waited till number 6 to address the great JaVale McGee.
I can explain.
And the performance he had on Saturday night.
I can explain.
Mhm.
First of all,
Mhm.
I wrote it in the first half because I was like, oh, JaVale's making the quick 6 quick thoughts. So I just threw it in at number 6 because I started. That's where I started. I was maybe going to move it up, maybe move it down, but he had a great first half. The second half was quiet, but the first half, man, he ran a plus 20 in like 8 minutes in the first half. He was absolutely phenomenal. And I think the key is that he played to his strengths. And I also think that playing against DeAndre Jordan, who is a similar style, it's a pick and roll big, like that helped him. Like, go up against that guy. Don't go up against a guy who's wandering around at the 3-point line, hoisting threes, because that's where JaVale tends to get in trouble. And I also think like they kept him in a pick and roll setting the whole time. There was no DHO with JaVale McGee at the top of the key. And that's where you start getting in trouble. So I've said it the whole time, I don't have a problem with JaVale McGee, like, as long as it's in the right situation. And there are going to be times where you want to go small ball and Trey Lyles just makes way more sense. But then there's going to be times where you are up against a team that has a Jokic, that like tonight has a Valanciunas, or a player like Zion Williamson. And like, if JaVale plays tonight like he did on Saturday, then you're not going to have Zion doing layup lines with his left hand for an entire game. You're not. Like, if he's playing and engaged in the right way, that's the player that I want to see on the court. Rebound, block shots, catch the lob. Nothing else. Don't try to dribble the ball up the court.
What about the sweeping hook?
Every once in a while, if you need it at the end of a shot clock, okay, fine. Because it goes in. I don't want to see the 3 ball. I don't want to see the bounce pass from
what
the
if
top
he's
of the
clearly
key.
about to go to the bench? You get the 3 up then? Because he's gotten at least 2 of those up
No.
right before going to the bench. He's Domas. All right, I got it.
Those situations, he doesn't come back and play in the second half. If like, you want to do that, you want to do a heat check right before you get pulled from, because you're coming out. Like, again, I think, like, realistically right now, I want to see how Trey Lyles deals with Zion Williamson, not in his first game back after missing 13 with a calf injury. I want to see how he looks. But this is a game, too, where I really do think you miss Alex Len. Because while JaVale is a much better athlete than Alex has a knack for standing in the right place and being 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan. Like, Alex would know where to be and would battle. He is more difficult to get the ball up and over as a man-on defender. As a weak side shot blocker, I think JaVale McGee can be brilliant. He has been throughout his career as a weak side shot blocker, but not everybody is a man-on shot blocker and a weak side shot blocker. It's something like, I remember having this discussion years ago with Samuel Dallenberg, and Dallenberg says, it's one thing if you can block a shot with both hands, that makes you different. He's like, another thing, like, so many players just are weak side shot blockers. So if their man doesn't have the ball, but someone else's man does, they can come through and block a shot on somebody else's man. But Dallenberg would say he prides himself at being both a man on when your man is going at you, being able to get up and block a shot, and it's a different skill set. And so that's where I think Alex Len is a better like man on defender or a better team shot blocker as opposed to a weak side shot blocker like JaVale. And so I don't know. I think that this is still going to be a really tough matchup for the Kings. Like they haven't figured out some magical way by not playing Zion to stop Zion. Until they show me that they can stop him, then he's, I still see him doing left-handed layups all night long. And that's a problem.
Put Jessica Paz right there on the sidelines. I think it'll work.
I mean,
just distract him.
Sarah,
if you're listening, call your people. Like, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
It's the only known weakness that Zion Williamson has.
Well, or the fixins.
Well,
yeah.
Hey, that's not okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stop it. Stop it. I can see your brain turning, man. Knock it off.
With that court side.
Out of control.
Out of control.
Hey, what's my man? Coach Green, sub me out.
Man,
need some of the stuff over here.
Zion at the free throw line. You just see the cook just rolling the spread out right on the baseline.
Yeah.
I'm 2 more trips to fixins away from looking like Zion Williamson, man. That place is fire.
Shout out fixins.
Man, that place is incredible. If I lived closer, I just be Zion walking around.
I'd just be Zion
eating oxtails and fried chicken. All right, we'll come back. James, I want to talk about Keegan Murray, and specifically, I want to talk about Keegan Murray and Mike Brown and what we saw on Saturday with those two and kind of where Keegan is at with his health. So we got that coming up. The Kings are in the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament tonight at the Golden One Center. They'll take on the New Orleans Pelicans on national television, and we'll talk about it with D'Lo and Casey, along with James Ham of the Insiders. Return here on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320. Oh, TC back in the chat like nothing happened.
Yeah, let's talk about the Kings.
TC back in the chat like
TC,
nothing happened.
Bro. Nah.
That's funny.
You guys know it's weird. Here's a weird food/snack quirk of mine. I like Cheez-Its, but I don't like goldfish.
I'm the opposite.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like goldfish at all.
You know who does like goldfish? Is Boban.
Boban, commercial star.
Yeah, Boban, really.
He bounces it.
he bounces it.
Is he on a team or is he just like a commercial star now?
No, he's on the Rockets.
Rockets.
Yeah, Rockets. Yeah.
Rockets.
Yeah, unfortunately we saw him. We got Boban time against the Kings.
That's never. No. That's when you know things have gone horribly wrong.
Well, Boban's out. Crap.
Yep. They've gone full Boban on us. You never want to go full Boban on you. I
don't know why Jeff Hardy is trending, but man, he did some crazy stuff when he wrestled.
It's always a name that's kind of scary when you see it trending.
Oh, yeah, because it could mean so many different things.
Deion Sanders and Tracy Edmonds released a joint statement saying it's mutual, that they're deciding to part ways. And did you guys see? It happened. It happened. Shanti's pregnant.
Yeah, we saw that.
Pour one out for Gotti.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Did Tracy
going through it.
Edmonds never change her name?
No, that's common.
I guess. I mean, I guess she got known as Tracy Edmonds after.
Well, actually, I think that happens the majority of the time.
No, we can do that tomorrow. Tion tweeted, somebody said the portal is jumping. Ain't hard to find.
Oh, snap.
Oh, Prime.
Juju Watkins, first 7 games in college. 32, 18, 35, 15, 31, 30, 30. Hey, so this is I hadn't heard this one before. I don't know if you saw this. Kenny Pickett had surgery on his high ankle sprain today.
I did see that.
Yeah, he's out Thursday.
But not out for the season.
Nope. Well, I don't know if you have the part 2 to that.
Sure.
Mike was just Mike Tomlin was like, yeah, I'm just not comfortable saying what his status is the rest of the season.
On the spot, who are you guys giving Coach of the Year to?
D'Amico.
Man, that's a good one. Because Kyle Shanahan can't win it. He's disqualified.
Pick Shannon.
This is a home run.
I don't think you can.
Did he win
You
last
think-
year?
you think even this-
No. Kyle Shanahan been the best coach in the league for like 2 years.
Even if they
3
went
years.
out because they had like the 2 big wins over the Cowboys and Eagles, maybe.
Maybe that does it.
I think right now my vote was.
But
Mike
what
Tomlin
if the
still.
Houstons make the playoffs? What if the Texans make the playoffs?
D'Amico is a good one. I want Mike Tomlin to win it just because that Steelers team is not good. Defense is I'm good. I'll say that, but
They got
everything
beat up
else.
yesterday. Beat up. Niners schedule low key is not. It's not easy. Aside from maybe the Commanders.
Nothing wrong with these schedules too, by the way.
No, I wish this schedule was easy. I wish the Niners schedule was easy.
Cardi B wasn't happy with Chick-fil-A messing up her order. She wrote, I really wanted to read what she wrote, but I can't on the air. I was going to read it to the chat.
Damn.
Effing Chick-fil-A. I'm really getting sick and tired of all you MFers. Dang, Cardi. Like, how can you botch a fast food order that bad?
You imagine that tweet just stemming from like they forgot her sauce or something.
And the crazy thing about Chick-fil-A is like that's what they're like traditionally some of the nicest workers in fast food.
They're too robotic for me sometimes.
Well, sometimes they ask you how your day's going.
But it all feels like it's part of a script. Like, talk to me like a human.
Well, that's all right. They're just trying to
I've
be
never been
polite.
there.
Ever been to Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A is bomb.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is
been there in a
bomb.
long time. Now there's like 7 lines. Like I drive past one and it's like there's 7 lines for Chick-fil-A. From what someone was explaining to me, there's a regular drive-through, then there's like a DoorDash drive-through, and then there's like a pre-ordered drive-through. There's cones set up at Chick-fil-A. That's why I'd never go. I was like, it's like 9 lanes. It's worse than a freeway.
Do they have like an all-inclusive one yet? Like where they include everybody?
I don't think so.
In their politics?
They probably yell at you.
Yeah.
There's that.
So,
no.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't think that'll ever happen.
Then they don't get James's money.
No. There's that. Hey, you asked.
Kenny's like, there's levels to this. I got decisions to make. My stomach compromises for nobody.
I'm still eating the Chick-fil-A. Sorry.
That's fine.
That chicken sandwich is bomb. Bomb. We talked earlier about what the vibe might be tonight at the Golden One Center for this quarterfinal trip to Vegas on the line. They're having a blue out. Everybody's getting blue shirts.
Here we go. Okay.
So they're trying to add to the energy.
Okay.
They've never done a blue out before, have they?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Okay, so
That's risky.
so
All
just-
of it's risky.
just a quick note to the guy in the front row or the second row, just put the t-shirt over your collared shirt. Like, no one cares. Don't be the cool person who's like, I'm not gonna wear the shirt. No, put the shirt on.
Well, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Put the shirt on.
I'm not gonna do that. Depends on what my fit is.
Put the shirt
If
on.
my fit is fire enough, I'm not throwing no blue shirt over, something that I've been waiting for.
Courtside
Waiting to wear
Kenny.
this.
Well,
Courtside
see-
Kenny ain't doing it.
I said to the guy, like, I wasn't even referring to Kenny. You're
I'm
right.
never in that situation. You
Too
don't ever
late.
see me.
Come on, man. You told on yourself already. How many times have you passed up a whiteout or a blackout because your fit
Never.
courtside was too fire?
Never. I'm never that close. What
They
you talking
probably
about?
coordinate with Kenny, like, hey, what are you wearing tonight? I'm wearing black. Cool. We're gonna do a blackout. We're gonna put black.
The
shirts
one
on the
time
table.
I was that close, I wasn't wearing black. I was wearing red. So that's a lie. Too.
Well,
We talked about it today that Kenny doesn't even sit courtside in a regular seat. They just stack PS5s up, and he sits on a stack of PS5s courtside.
that checks out.
Kenny don't sit courtside.
He just hands them out
Period.
to people who ask too. Hey, can I get one of those? Sure, absolutely. I got like 10 more of them. We believe these are from Jiffy Lube. They could be from Kenny.
Well,
Kenny and Jiffy Lube came together to.
if I could, I would. I ain't gotta like that though. I ain't gotta like that. Oh,
Whatever you say. It's fine. Like whatever you say.
Whole place wearing blue shirts today though.
Okay.
Well, you don't seem excited about that.
No, it's fine. Everybody wear blue shirts. It's like cool. Like I love it. It'll look crazy with the court.
Yeah,
It'll look fire.
I've seen a picture of it. It does look pretty. It looks dope.
Hmm.
Looks dope.
James won't be wearing one.
No. I
Oh,
do have a suit
James
for
did get
tonight.
the memo. He does have a little light blue on.
I did not get a memo about
Oh.
it being
You didn't get the blue out memo?
a blue out.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, Keegan Murray did because he'll be in a uniform with blue in it tonight. That's the best segue I could come up with.
Spectacular segue.
Or Keegan was feeling blue after a conversation with Mike Brown during Saturday's game. I feel like we haven't seen a ton of those this year from Mike, and I don't know if that's Mike or that's the kind of growth of this Sacramento Kings team, but he got Keegan out of there pretty quick, pulled him to the side, had a rather lengthy conversation with him in which Keegan was completely deadpan. Not that that's unusual for Keegan, but he was sat down. He hadn't really got going at all. If you think he'd only maybe taken a couple of shots there prior to that, and then came back in and got a lot more aggressive. What do you know about that moment with Keegan and Mike Brown?
Yeah, I think you missed the other option. It's that Terrence Davis isn't on the sideline, isn't on the Kings anymore. So
Well,
Mike doesn't have that
That
conversation.
didn't feel necessary.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Why do you hate all of our favorites?
I don't hate all of your
Between
favorites.
Terrence
I just know that
and JaVale.
that's
and-
who he was known to have conversations
Yeah,
with
that's-
quite often.
Well, no, he used to demonstrate.
Yeah, he would get out on the court and like triple
like, I'm
threat, triple threat position right now.
Teaching a pro basketball player a triple threat position on national television.
That's
It was
right.
a wild moment with our man Terrence Davis.
Yeah. So when it comes to Keegan, though, like, look, what you don't want to do is have this thing where he's constantly like resetting, right? We had this problem with Marvin Bagley where he missed so much time. He had these starts and stops and then when he got back, he wasn't the same player. So we see De'Aaron Fox come back from injury, and the first game he's like trying to go for 30. That's what you want to see from your player, right? You don't want to have to start over with the basics. And I think Keegan was way too, like, I don't know, laid back. Like he wouldn't take a shot. Like he was too timid. And Mike put him out there in the first time, and it didn't go that well. Team fell behind in the first quarter. You know, he came out with a bunch of the other guys. He put him back out there in the second half and in the second quarter and was like, okay, man, the same exact thing. I can't have what's going on. So he pulled him like, I don't know, it might have been a minute, might have been 90 seconds, pulled him aside. And then when Keegan goes to walk to the bench, Mike said, no. And he pulled him alongside him. And that was strange. Like they sat there for a good minute and a half talking on the sidelines. And good for Mike. Like, because what you have to do is remind him in this situation, like, look, if we're going to be the team that we think we're going to be, it's because you're going to take another leap in productivity and who you are and how opposing teams have to defend you, all of these things. We can't take a step back every time you miss a couple of games or you have a bad shooting game. We can't take a step back. We need this thing to be moving forward. You need to be excelling and getting better and better, because it really does make a difference what happens to Keegan, where this franchise goes. If he's your third, you got things figured out for the next decade and you just keep going. If he's not, you need to know it pretty quickly. And so I think what they're doing right now is like, you have to push buttons, and you're waiting for the moment where you don't have to push those buttons. And hopefully it happens, but it might not. And if that's where you're going to be for the next decade, that kind of limits who you can be. If you're someone that has to be told that you have to shoot again and again and again, like, until when? Like, it's not like when you're sitting there playing in a game and your team is telling you to shoot. It's not like the other team doesn't hear that. Like, they understand that, like, well, let's just run at him. If we run at him, he's not going to shoot. Yeah. Oh, maybe we don't need to defend him. He's not shooting. So, like, you need to figure it out. And I think that that's what Mike has to have, coaching moments. And Keegan's still a young player. He's had coaching moments with Davion. He's had coaching moments with Keegan now. He's had coaching moments with Kevin Huerter. Still a young player. He's only 25 years old. So I think it's a good thing to see. I also think the response from Keegan was the right response. He came out, he busted 2 threes, got a mid-range jump shot. But if not, like, look, this team is not waiting for you to catch up. We're not waiting for you to figure it out. We're going to leave you behind. And that's not what anyone wants. You got to figure it out, and you have to not just be self-motivated as in you work hard and you figure out all these things. You have to be self-motivated on the court and start taking ownership in who and what you are on the court and go excel, because that's how our team is built. It's built for you to be the third piece.
Yeah. And the good thing about that as well is, like, trying to get that message across, is you're dealing with a guy like Keegan Murray who is receptive to that, or has shown that he can be receptive to coaching and, being pulled out and talked to for a minute and a half, and still stay locked in on the game, still stay locked in on the message, not exactly what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, not the fact that you got pulled out or you're being talked to, while standing up on the sideline. He's not really worried about that. He's listening to what coach is saying and can take that advice and apply it.
Yeah, and I would point out too, I think it was a previous game. It was the Clippers game. Like, Kevin Huerter and Domas went at it. Like, they were chirping at each other, like, going into a break, because one of them missed an assignment, or one of them thought the other one missed an assignment. And they were having they were both, like, explaining what they were trying to do. But it looked like they were ready to, like, fight. That's good. Like, these things are good, and you watch them walk back out on the court after a timeout. They slap each other 5 and they're, like, ready to go. Let's go. But those are moments where, again, a teaching moment. We didn't see Keegan, like, yelling back at Mike. We saw a coach, like, really getting into a player and saying, this is what I need from you now. Not yelling, not screaming, not losing his cool, but, like, putting his arm around a guy and saying, this can't go on. What's happening here is not acceptable for who we are and what we're doing. So let's move forward, and I need you to be better. And that's good. That's why Mike Brown is a really, really, really good coach. It is.
This speaks to the relationship he has with these players.
Oh, yeah.
Too. I mean, we've brought that up before with, talking about Malik Monk a few minutes ago. I don't think if Malik had the respect that it appears that he has for Mike Brown, he would be okay coming off the bench, or Chris Duarte starting when someone's injured, or last year Terrence Davis starting when virtually anyone starting when someone is injured other than Malik Monk. And I think obviously that speaks to Malik's disposition, but I do think it speaks a great deal to the relationship that Malik has with Mike Brown, which is the theme in which you were just speaking of, the relationship that Mike Brown has with all of these players.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, first of all, Mike is really, really hard on De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. He is. That's like he sets the standard that your best players, number one, they have to be coachable. Number two, they've got to get better. They have to continue to improve. They can't make the same mistakes again and again. And what it does is set a standard for if he's going to yell at Fox or he's going to yell at Sabonis, that it's okay for him to yell at anyone else. It's so, and I've always like, there are some people say, you got to coach everybody the same way. And that's just not the case. Like if you've spent any amount coaching, like you have to direct people in a similar way. You have to hold people to a same standard, but you also need to understand personalities. You need to find ways to connect with different players. And I think that that's what good coaching is about. People don't have to just follow you blindly. It's okay for someone to not be okay with their role or to want more. But as long as you're communicating and you're able to pull guys aside or in front of a group, be consistent, then I think you don't lose the room. And, you don't want to lose anybody. But on occasion, there are going to be a couple of players that they don't fit. They don't want to be there. They haven't bought in, whatever. And you have to move on from those players pretty quickly. But I also think that what we're seeing a culture built in Sacramento that's different than what we've seen in the past. And it's a culture where there's accountability. There's accountability on the court at any given moment. There's accountability when you come off the court to have conversations that might be tough with coaches, whether it's Mike or whether it's one of the assistants. There's accountability to each other. And I think that that's how you find success. And that's how you build a culture of, like we've talked about in the past, the next man up mentality. Like this team didn't have a next man up mentality last year because they didn't have a roster that was built to do that. Now you're starting to see how when you keep a group together and you start building, not only is there more layers added to like the offense and the defensive sets, but there's also like more and more accountability that gets passed on to the players, a culture of where everyone feels like they have a voice. We've even heard it like Trey Lyles is one of the biggest voices in the room. Trey Lyles hardly says a word and he's super soft spoken. And when you're interviewing him, he keeps getting lower and lower and lower as he's talking. And so you keep zooming in more and more and more because you can't hear him. But if he's got a big voice in the behind the scenes and when he says stuff, it's impactful and people listen. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for this moment where the team starts to run itself, where you don't have to say what drill is next. They instantly go out to the floor and start doing their drill. That's when you've like with young kids when you're coaching, that the message is getting through. When your players go out and start looking like they're going to run a drill professionally and they're on each other for goofing around, that's when you start to feel, okay, like this, now we can move on. We can start taking the next step. And that's what we're seeing. The Kings just keep taking these next steps as a group, and that's good.
Another step that we talk about that we wanted to see from them this year that they're taking, and we saw a good example of that, I feel, on Saturday night, is taking advantage and protecting the home court. They're now 6-2 at home, and you have the defending champs coming here on a back-to-back. So many times we'd say, oh, back-to-back, like you should be able to get them, and they wouldn't be able to do it. Well, they came out ready to play. The Kings came out ready to play on Saturday at home and looked like it was something that they were cognizant of. They were aware of, like, hey, they're coming into our house. This needs to be a tough place for anybody to come into. And I think they really want to take that next step where people talk about, man, going to Sacramento, that's a tall task. I don't know if you're going to get that one in Sacramento. Like, I think that's the next evolution of the squad. And that's something that stood out to me on Saturday after that win. And hopefully we can get that a little bit here tonight. Like, man, in season quarters, I got to go to Sacramento. Ooh, that's asking a lot. Hopefully they're starting to feel that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, first of all, the crowd in Sacramento has just been off the charts. They have been for the last, want to say the good part of like 38 years or whatever. There was a time when they had 19 consecutive seasons of 100% sellouts, even though the team made the playoffs twice in that whole stretch. So you have that, right? That you already have a great fan base, but you need to reward that fan base by coming out and playing with the energy and the workmanlike quality that they deserve. The fans put in the work. You need to show that you're giving back the same. I think last season, this team was finding itself still. I think they were as surprised as anyone else that they were that good. We may have heard it. Yeah, we felt like we were going to be. Yeah, but for 16 years I've been hearing that, and it like teams weren't good. So that's one thing. But if this team was going to take a huge leap this year, there are two mechanisms for them to do it. Number one, they had to get better on the defensive end, which doesn't mean they have to be a top 5 or top 10, but they need to go from number 24, 25 to like number 15 to 17. If they can do that, they can pick up maybe 5 more wins and really solidify themselves as like a 50-win team. The other way is if you can take a step forward on the home floor. If, what did they finish? Like 23 and 18 at home last year, and then 25 and 17 on the road, or 16 on the road. Well, that doesn't make any sense that this team would win more games on the road than they would at home. If this team can win 30 games at home, they're probably going to win 55 games or real close to it. 53, 54, 55. They can get to 30 wins on that's how you do it, is by winning at home, and seeing them take strides to do that, to be better on their home court is big. But like a game like tonight, like you got to use your home court, like beat this team down. That's how you do it. You get on runs, you make them feel like it's hopeless, and you just keep plugging and push the tempo. That's how you do it. So hopefully they're figuring it out.
If they can get to 30 wins, they could potentially get to 50-plus wins. If they can get to 7 wins, they can get to Las Vegas. How big of a deal do you think this is for this team? The first ever in-season tournament, the first, Kenny Dub, the Final Four, the first opportunity to go to Vegas. Okay. Calm down, Chad Johnson. That doesn't even work.
Final Quattro. Don't want to get sued.
Oh, well, that's a good call. Is this a big deal? Do you think let me rephrase that. Do you think that they think this is a big deal?
I think getting through tonight's game and beating a team that already thumped you twice is a big deal. I think getting to 5 games over 500 is a big deal. I think that if they get through tonight, Thursday will feel like a big deal in Las Vegas. You'll feel like you're playing
part of something special.
Yeah, you're one of the Final Four. You're one of the best teams in basketball. Yeah.
Crap, we just got 3 lawsuits here in the last 30 seconds.
Son of a. Yeah,
Final
I mean,
Quattro.
This is a big moment where you're part of the elite group, and you're in Vegas. You're somewhere special. And I don't even know how many people are going to be there. Like last time I said, they were trying to give away tickets for this thing in Vegas. But if it does like catch fire, like I think that this has a really, really, like there's a pathway here for the Kings to really use this as a launching point for themselves. I think if you get through tonight, it becomes a really, really big deal the next 2 games.
Well, I mean, like LeBron or KD is going to be there.
Yeah.
Like Sacramento is exciting. Maybe they're not moving tickets yet. Boston has the opportunity to be there. Tyrese is the god already, the first ever active Hall of Famer. And then you got Giannis and like Orlando, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean tickets in Sacramento. I mean tickets in Vegas.
No, I know what you meant. Yeah,
they were like buy 1 get 3 free.
Well, and I don't mean to be this way. Look, man, they ain't my squad. I don't care what they say, but Vegas got a nice little Laker fan population. So, no, come on, no.
What?
No,
I didn't even do nothing.
No.
I didn't do nothing. Look, you getting all. Look, I move a little bit, and my guy gets all worked up.
I think, Kenny, those are your people.
Those are not my.
Those are
people.
not James. Those are not Kenny's people. Will you stop?
Okay, Lake Show.
James.
I think they also have a
Come
stack
on,
of
man.
PS5s for Kenny to sit on in LA. Is that what we're saying?
Come on, but look, Phoenix ain't far from Vegas. If they care about their team, they might show up. And people in the chat was talking about they going to Vegas. So I think they'll sell some tickets.
Yeah, I think they
also,
will too.
but I think they'll definitely comp some tickets too. Said, hey, Anthony Anderson, come sit courtside at the in-season tournament.
Better see all of the. We'll see all of the Aces, all of the Raiders, all of the Golden Knights.
Yeah.
See all the hell. John Fisher will be right there,
Oh man,
courtside.
Oh,
Do we see Mark Davis courtside in the final?
Oh, he's gonna be there. Mark Davis gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark
Oh,
Davis
you know who will be there? Your boy,
Ooh.
Dana. Yeah, isn't
ain't
Dana
my
White
boy.
Mr. Las Vegas?
Hey, my boy Floyd probably be there.
Hey, something to watch out for too in this game. The Kings have been working on isolating opponents, getting switches, which is something they did not do last year. They've been working on it over the last week and a half, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see that a lot tonight, I believe, where they try to get set screens, free guys up, and then isolate them on players that they believe aren't great defenders. And so I would expect to see a lot more of that. That's one of the next levels of this offense is that you figure out a way to get one-on-one with CJ McCollum at the top of the key with De'Aaron Fox, or you find a way to get a bad defender in a bad spot and go at them. So yeah, watch for that.
I'm anxious to see how De'Aaron attacks this game tonight.
And get 40. That's go
How about
to work. Get 40.
You go win. You don't worry about how many you score. If you have to set up 16 assists, do it. If you need 35 to,
that's why I said I'm curious
it.
how he attacks this game tonight,
Yeah.
and that could fall into how everyone else is shooting. Like you say all the time, Casey, 6 assists. It's a two-way street.
Well, need to be aggressive.
That's what. Yeah,
Aggressive.
Yeah.
And Domas too.
Yes.
Domas has 25 if he finishes half of those shots at the basket that he missed on Denver. Just be aggressive like you were in the first and fourth quarter of Saturday's game.
Certified Drake Bars game tonight for a trip to Vegas.
Jesse, what's the record for certified Drake Bars games?
Going to see if the Kings can go 9-0 in Drake Bars games tonight.
There we go. You heard the man.
So glad he picked up on what I was doing. I love my producer. All right. You know what we're doing. We're headed over to 102.5. We've got your opportunity to win tickets to the Sold Out Show with T-Pain and Flo Rida coming up on Friday. Remember, we are going to be live at Sky River Casino coming up on Thursday. But what will Thursday be? We'll find out tonight, and we'll be here to recap it tomorrow beginning at 10 a.m. with the